Hello. So let's get started with the linear momentum balance. First, we look at the integral linear momentum balance. So this from the second law of Newton, we know that d by dt of momentum of the system is equal to net force acting on the system. And if we write this along the x direction for the conservation of momentum, we'll get what is shown over here. d by dt of integral of the system rho v dv, and this v is the x component of the velocity, is equal to net force acting on system in the x direction. Now, using RTT, we can write down the integral linear momentum balance, wherein you see small b is equal to Vx. So, very much similar to the mass balance. Only difference is that little b is equal to Vx in this case. So, d by dt of integral control volume rho Vx dv plus this convective term as shown is equal to net force acting on the contents of the control volume in the x direction. And yes, we have written this considering the coincident control volume and a system at an instant. All right. So similarly, in other direction also we can write this integral linear momentum balance, right? And remember that momentum and force are in the same direction, and the force acts on the contents of the control volume. So, and this force can be further classified as the body force and surface force. And in this course, we'll be considering the only gravitation as a body force. So, F force due to gravitation is equal to mass of the contents of the control volume multiplied by acceleration due to gravity. Of course, assuming uniform, we'll assume uniform G. All right, and then we have surface forces. Here we are looking at the surface force due to pressure only. F bar pressure is equal to minus PA n cap, where P is the uniform pressure across the surface area A, and N is the normal vector. As you can see, it's compressive with regards to the negative sign is given over here. So this is surface force due to pressure alone. There are other surface forces which we'll see further. And now, if this linear momentum balance it has to be simplified, then we know that steady state. In case of steady state, d by dt term will go to 0, and then we can also assume uniform density, velocity, and velocity being perpendicular to the normal vector, and further simplify the integral to summation over inlets and outlets for the convective term. And of course, for the flow of momentum out through this control surface by convection, its sign is decided by the dot product of velocity and normal vector and the x component of the velocity. If the signs are same, then we'll get a positive convective term. Moving on, let's move on to differential x linear momentum balance, and we are focusing on the left hand side alone now. So again, similar to differential mass balance, here we'll consider a small control volume, cuboidal in shape, with these as the sides, and the fluid is going to be flowing through it. And for a fixed control volume, we'll take the dou by dou t inside, and we'll assume then the density and x component of velocity to be uniform and take it outside, and this is what we'll get. We have taken the average values, that is. So as you can see in this picture, there are 6 faces, and there are 3 inlets and 3 outlets, and these are the momentum, the flow of momentum at inlets and outlets respectively. So the rate of flow of x momentum entering at y is rho vy vx evaluated y into delta x delta z, and the rate of flow of x momentum leaving at y plus delta y is the same quantity evaluated at y plus delta y. And similarly, for the flow along other momentum also can be written y momentum and z momentum. We write down the net rate of flow, and then we divide it by delta x delta y delta z, as you know, and shrink the control volume to a point. And on doing so, this is what we'll get. This is our LHS, dou by dou t over Vx plus dou, and these 3 terms belong to the convective portion. And you can see Vx, which is found everywhere in these brackets. So because we have written the x linear momentum balance, right? Okay. All the terms, and of course all the terms are per unit volume. And gravity in the RHS also, one of the terms now itself we can tell, right? Gravitational force per unit volume is rho g bar. Okay, again, upon carrying out the shrinking, this is what we get, rho g bar, obviously. Moving on. Okay, stress vector. Let's get started with stress vector. So basically, to understand the surface forces completely, right, we have taken diversion to solid mechanics, and the stress vector we are discussing for solids first. Okay, so stress vector represented by this small tn, where n is the normal vector of the surface we are considering is equal to delta of star by delta A, where F star. What is F star? F star is the average resultant internal force, and delta of star is a small incremental version of it on a small area delta A. You can clearly see in this picture and understand. So this is a body we have made a cut with this surface having normal vector n and delta of star being the differential resultant internal force and acting on delta A. All right. So this is the stress vector, and we can obviously resolve it into three mutually perpendicular components: n, s1, and s2. So n vector perpendicular to the surface, s1 and s2 tangential to surface but perpendicular to each other. All right. So t n is equal to tau n cap plus tau n s1 cap plus tau n s2 cap can be written. All right. So here tau n is a normal stress component, and tau ns1, tau ns2 are shear stress components. Remember, this n vector would vary with the direction of the cut we are making at the point in that body. All right. Similarly, we can also resolve this Tn bar along the our usual xyz axis. So Tn is equal to tau nx I cap plus tau nyj cap plus tau nz k cap can be written. Next, let's instead of some random n, let's consider Tx, Ty, and Tz. Okay, so Tx is equal to tau xsi cap plus tau xyj cap plus tau xzk cap. So we are just replacing this n with x over here. Okay, similarly, Ty and Tz can be expressed. Of course, here, what is the small x mean? X is the normal vector, meaning we are looking at a plane which is parallel to the yz plane. All right, and note that stress vector is also called as a traction vector. Okay. All right, so yeah, this is here. And finally, let's quickly go over the stress tensor. Now, we saw that we saw Px, Ty, Pz, and each had three components. So total, there are 9 components we can talk about, right? So we have a stress tensor. Tau bar is equal to a 3 by 3 matrix with 9 components as shown: tau xx, tau xy, tau xz, and so on. So there are 9 components, each attached with 2 directions, as you can clearly see. The sign of the component would depend on the direction of normal to the plane, whether it's here, whether it is positive or negative y-axis, and also the direction of the component of stress vector, is it is x or a y stress vector we are considering. The components of the stress of the tensor will change with the coordinate system, but the stress tensor itself will remain the same, as in the sum of the diagonal elements to xx plus tau y plus tau z will be constant. Okay. Now, next one is a very important formula. Okay, Cauchy's formula. Tn is equal to n dot tau, where n is the normal vector of the surface on which the force is acting, and tau is the stress tensor, and Tn is the stress vector. All right, and is of if you want to know, it is derived from the force balance only. Okay, so if we know the 9 components of stress tensor, we can easily calculate the stress vector acting on any plane passing through a specific point. And that is why we say that stress tensor at a point, if we have, then it represents the state of stress at that point, because it contains all information necessary to calculate any possible stress vector that we want. Thank you, and we'll continue in the next lecture.